Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League, the one and only Performance League tonight. There used to be two leagues of it last season, but now it's been shortened down to be one league. I do apologise with the delay of the stream. Did kick off late as well, so I do apologise with that. But before I carry on at the glorious race of Espanyol, Spain, I have got the legendary Tim from the Performance League 2 last season. Good evening, Tim. How you doing, mate? You alright?
How you doing, Malk? I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that, Craig wanted me here to broadcast this, and I'm looking forward to working with you all season.
Oh, fantastic stuff, mate. Fantastic. We could have the English-American banter, shall we say. But Mike's just spun out an energy downstone the fastest lap with a 124 flat on the hard tyre. So that's just when the tyres will come in now. But regarding this, I know you're joining the F1, aren't you? Like, as a new fan. How are you finding it so far?
Well, I've been finding it pretty interesting, to say the least. And where I was commentating last season, I was about to say last year, I was able to kind of get to know a few of the drivers, and I was able to see kind of how they race. And it's just really exciting. Honestly, I'm going to just go ahead and say it's been more exciting than watching the F1 races on TV. So, I mean, I love that I'm able to be involved in this, and that I'm able to continue learning and expanding my knowledge of Formula One because, as you said, I'm a new fan, that I'm just now coming in and learning about this, but I'm overall a motorsports enthusiast. So it's just an amazing opportunity for me to be able to do this.
Oh, absolutely, mate. And like I said, I'll try my very hardest to make sure we get both best quality of commentary on the Performance League, on the Invictus Racing League channels. Not only I'm on my own channel, but also Tim is on the other channel as well. But before I carry on, Nitrogas did get the fastest lap earlier on, Tim, with a 121.7 meters, but Mr. Sky Z has done an even quicker time. Oh, Jos! Would you Yossa believe it? Brilliant stuff, absolutely brilliant with a 120.8. Now, I will warn you, Tim, I do shout out of nowhere with the qualifying stuff, so I do apologise, Tim.
Hey, don't feel bad. I'm actually the same way. If you go back and watch some of the earlier races that I was commentating, and really even toward the end of the season, sometimes I would just get so animated about what was happening on track that I would just completely run out of breath. But yeah, you are right that Yas has set the fastest time with so far a 120.8, and Mr. Sky is in second. That's actually a pretty decent gap between first and second for Yas there, and I expect it to change as this session goes on because it looks like we have about 6 drivers still left to qualify. But already kind of getting dicey here.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. It's just going to be an absolute belter here, whatever happens here. Good evening to everyone that's joining on my session here, live and exclusive on the Invictus Racing League with the brilliant Tim on the commentary box with me for the very first time. So the duo, the Malk and Tim duo, MNT or TNM or MNT, whatever you want to call it. But that'll be fantastic stuff. But bear in mind, mate, like I said, have you been to Spain? Have you know the track much?
I don't know the track all that well, or at least not right now. I'm currently watching.
Oh!
What happened? Who are you watching?
I was just watching Scope. Just lost it. I do apologise, Tim. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but Scope has just completely lost one of the corners there, and now he's very, very lucky man here because his car's still on track here, so he's very lucky here wherever happens. But sorry about that, Tim. Carry on. What was you saying about the Spain track?
You're fine for interrupting. I'm watching Scope, and he lost it again, and now he got into the wall, and now he has front wing damage. He's undoubtedly going to have to pit now. That's going to put a damper in his chances to get a pole here today. But we do have 10 minutes left in this qualifying session, so he has time to get back out there and put down a fast lap. But definitely, Scopefielder having some issues here in the early laps. Excuse me, it was not Scopefielder, it was Sir Spud who just spun.
Oh, okay. Hopefully he will bounce back as quickly as possible here, Tim. But regarding the track of Spain, It's one of those tracks where, at the glorious race of Barcelona Catalunya, which will have 33 laps, bear in mind it's a 2.892 miles with a 4.654 kilometers. There will be 16 turns, I believe, which I'm just watching currently now. But regarding the tyre wear is not great around here, if you want to answer that question. But the times I expect the medium tires to hit the 20s, which Yoss is doing, and Mr. Sky to hit the hards on 21s. But if someone was doing the soft tyre, which is the red tyres, they've changed the tyre wear, which is confusing me so much. I don't know if it's confusing you a lot since last season here, Tim. What do you think?
Actually, where I'm a new F1 fan, it's actually been a lot easier for me to follow along because now we only have 3 compounds versus what do we have, about 5 last year or
Oh,
so.
absolutely. Yeah, we had like the hyper soft, super softs, ultra, or hyper ultra soft, whatever you call it, or super soft, whatever you call it. And now we've got soft, medium, and hard tyres. But like I said, is there any drivers from last season that you commentated on, mate, that you would recommend watching this season?
Well, definitely Scopefielder and Yas. They were drivers that you definitely saw up front quite a lot in the the Performance League 2 last season. And let's see here, as I'm looking down the list, I am also seeing Luke Bailey, who was in that. But another one that I saw in the lobby, actually, there he is. Actually, he is in 10th place. Energy Dan. Look for him because there toward the end of the season, he was really making gains, and I even think that at Monza he got a podium. So look for him because I think that he's starting to get a lot faster.
Oh, okay. Fair dues, fair dues. But I'll tell you now, since you've asked me about the Performance League 2, the drivers, the ones to watch out for is Mr. Sky Z, who's won the Drivers' Championship twice, and his own. This will shock you. To be fair, we've got yellow flag sector 2. Yellow flag sector 2, so I think that might be Dre Gio's just laying one of the drivers through. But, as I was saying, Tim, Mr. Skycy is the driver who's going to be the man to watch, or the wanted man, because he's won the Drivers' Championship twice. However, how many race wins do you think Mr. Skycy had won over the 2 seasons of Invictus in the Performance League? How many races do you think he has won? Oh! Brilliant stuff! Sorry, Tim. Hello, Tim.
Excuse me, I accidentally had my mic muted, having a little bit of technical difficulties trying to get back into the swing of things here. But yeah, as we were talking about him, I noticed that Mr. Sky has set the fastest time so far. But ask me the question again. Were you asking how many races do I think he's won?
Do you think he has won the last 2 seasons at Performance League 1? Do you reckon?
You're asking me this. I'm going to say yes.
So how many did you... sorry, maybe I've said it wrong here, but how many races would you guess that he won a race or many races throughout the 2 seasons of Invictus in the Performance League?
I'm going to guess about 20.
No,
How many?
1 win. 1 win, and he's won 2 Drivers' Championships.
Ve-
That's Mr.
wow.
Consistent.
I was about to say
So,
that's a very consistent driver that actually, if you are watching on the Invictus Racing League F1 channel, which is what I'm broadcasting on, you are currently watching him in that Haas, and I'm just going to say that's a very impressive stat, and I'm glad you told me that because I'm going to keep an eye on him. No matter where he finishes this season, I'm definitely watching him.
oh, fair dues, fair dues. But like I said, he's won 1 race out of... He would have broken the record. He's the only driver ever to never win a race in a whole season, but still win the Drivers' Championship. And that was in the first season, I think, of the Performance League. That was just in starting machine stuff. But before we carry on, Tim, we've just given you a bit of... Oh, brilliant stuff! Absolutely brilliant from SJD! Oh, brilliant stuff! Oh, sorry about that, Tim, but this is absolutely belter. A 120.4 from SJD. Mr. Sky C did a 120.8. Josh is still on 120.8. Scope's done a 120.8 on the hard tyres. Colin Jay's done a 121.1. Aaron J. Spence did a 121.2. I'm losing my voice here. Dre Gio, or Neo Geo, as I always call him, of a 121.5 in 7th. Ferocious Dan is in 8th. The newcomer who's replaced Meg Lugby as of tonight. So he, unfortunately, Meg Lugby could not carry on due to personal reasons and stuff. So hopefully everything's all okay and well. Nigel Gash is in 9th. Sab's in 10th. Energy Dan 11th. Luke Bailey's in 12th. So Knightlyhood of Spud is in 13th. Mike and LR Archie 14th, 15th, respectively. Under 4 minutes 40 left on the qualifying. So what do you think so far, Tim?
Well, I think that we're going to have a very close race because if you look, the second, third, and fourth place cars, as you said, they're all running 120.8. So they're not separated just by tenths of a second. They're separated some by hundredths or even two of them, they're thousandths of a second. And then you go up to first place with SJD, and he's got a 120.4, which is only 4/10ths quicker than second, third, and fourth approximately. So at least the top four, I think we're going to see a very, very close battle.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Based on looking at that, I think we're going to have well, this is, bear in mind, guys, this is the equal performance tonight, so the admins can make sure they pick the right cars in for during the league, for the actual performance car league for the rest of the season coming up soon. But Nigel Gash, is just seeing now, he's just gone a little bit wide through the chicane, possibly he's going back into the pits now. Dre GL, or Neo GL, as always called him now. He's on, like I said, looking at the times, to be fair, Tim, I mean, based on Mr. Sky and Scope, they've done a 120.8. And to be fair, nearly from Dre Geos, did a 120.5, a tenth off from SJD. So that's a cracking time from Dre Geo. Do you agree, Tim?
Oh yeah, let's add 5 cars into that mix of who's going to have a very close race today, because I really just think that this is pretty impressive. I mean, it's not unheard of to see cars this close. I mean, especially, in the real Formula One or in the real NASCAR, or just any other racing series. But it's just, I love seeing it because it's a good indicator of the speed of everybody and hopefully of how close they'll be running in the race.
Oh, absolutely there, Tim. Absolutely. I mean, bear in mind, this, obviously, it's not going to affect whatever happens. I mean, this is just the pre-season races, so whatever you do, I'd rather you get the mistakes done and dusted first rather than during the season, because you don't want to have a bad start, do you really?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if you can control when you make your mistakes and where, tonight is probably when you want to make them, because as you said, this is a preseason race, so this doesn't count toward the points at the end of the season. This is, as you said, simply for the admins, and I guess it benefits the drivers as well to give them a sense of how quick they are compared to everyone else. So if you want to make mistakes, go ahead and make it tonight, because this is technically just an exhibition race.
True, absolutely, spot on there, Tim. Absolutely, but like I said, I'm watching some of the drivers coming up under 2 minutes left. Now, what I normally do when I do my stream is do the countdown. So, do you want me to do the countdown after 30 seconds? When you hear the countdown sound, you'll hear it soon on the 30-second marker. But like I said, Tim, is there any drivers, do you reckon they'll shock the times? Do you think anyone will beat SJD's time?
I'm not sure if anyone's going to be able to beat SJD's time. I mean, looking at the board, it'd be easy to say that the most possible driver... Well, now we have Aaron JS in second place. He's got a 120.4, and that is not very far off of SJD's 120.453. So, just as we're talking about that, I think Aaron might have the best chance at this moment.
At the moment, yeah. I mean, I would start off with if it was me, I would start either the medium or the hards. If you're on the softs, they only last 7 laps, but because the guys have already done their qualifying laps, so this will compromise. They might only do about 4 or 5 laps on track, so 8 laps may pushing it for the softs, or they could do a 2-stop for the soft tyres. So, boy, have to wait and see what happens on this situation. But here's the countdown theme coming up now. No, not what I meant. Bad timing. Bad timing. Bad timing.
Okay,
Uh,
so what we were saying a minute ago about when the drivers want to make mistakes, well, today is also the night
oh!
that commentators want to make mistakes. What has happened, Malk?
Scope has just got pole. Scope has got pole. Brilliant stuff, absolutely brilliant. Who's next? Would Mr. Scorsese? Mr. Scorsese's going to do his lapping. Mr. Scorsese's going to do his lapping now. Majority of the drivers have all finished. We got Scope, who's just got pole. Can Aaron Dispense? Aaron Dispense won't improve his time, so he's still in third at the minute. SJD still holding on for second. Where's Mr. Scorsese? Mr. Scorsese still doing everything possible here.
Now,
Yellow flag
Aaron has pulled into the pits now, so it does appear as though Archie is now up in second. I see that. Oh, wow, that is amazing. Actually, amazing times being set here at the end of this session. I didn't expect us to break into the 119 categories, and I'm going to say I'm very surprised to see that the mediums are faster than the softs in qualifying.
To be fair, it depends on the driver and the way that they handle the car. If they're doing no assist as well, that is impressive, to be fair. Because you would hit 118s on the softs, and then 119s on the mediums, and then 120s on the hards, which some of the drivers... Mike's retired from the session, so Mr. Scorsese and Scope are the only ones left. I think Scope's not going to improve his time, but it depends on what Mr. Scorsese can do. Do you think Mr. Scorsese will get into the top three, Tim?
Will Mr. Sky get into the top three? Well, he's going to have to do something, and do something right now. And he did with a 120.386 on the medium tires. Mr. Sky is now our third place qualifier.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, fantastico. Magnifico. Oh, this is not the Italiano, but it is a Espanol. Nice on that one. But
and to go
I
back,
hope you enjoy the...
Go ahead, Malcolm. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right, mate. I hope you enjoy the commentary tonight here, Tim. What was you going to say? Sorry.
Well, you were mentioning earlier, do you think that anyone can beat SJD's time? And really, at that moment, it looked like he absolutely had the pole in the bag because no one was challenging him. But then, notice here, he is now not even lining up on the podium. So that is absolutely an amazing late run by Scope Fielder, Archie, and Mr. Sky. Of course, good job to all the drivers here. But when you're talking about pole position, that was an amazing run by those top three drivers to beat that 120.4.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic stuff there. Scopes, like I said, Scope, Archie, Mr. Scope in the top three, SJD in fourth, Aaron J. Spence in fifth, Dre Gio's got a five-position place penalty, Yoss has got seventh, Sab got eighth, Colin J got ninth, Fresh Stan got 10th. I could not remember who the rest was underneath because we was trying to rush there. But looking at it so far, Tim, is there any drivers that you've kind of changed your mind on who you think would be a contender for the drivers, or maybe the I'll mention about the constructors in a minute, but who do you think is going to be your top three drivers for the season? I know it's only one race in, and I know it's a tough call, but just as a guess, what do you think your top three could be?
Well, I mean, you definitely have drivers like Yoss and Scope Fielder, and I feel like you definitely cannot count them out. But someone that definitely surprised me in this last qualifying session, Archie, not taking anything away from him, but in the Performance League from last season, I remember that he just sort of, he ran in the back, so I just assumed that he was kind of getting his bearings down. But now you see that he is lining up third, correct me if I'm wrong, in this race. And that was actually a surprise to me. So maybe we should be keeping an eye on him in this race tonight, and maybe even all season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's the one to watch, to be fair. Same with Scope, same with Mr. Scorsese. I know it's only one race in, and it's so much to take in as well. So anything could happen here regarding whatever happens this season. I mean, it could be that Mr. Scorsese could win another Drivers' Championship by not winning another race again during the Performance Leagues. It's going to be frantic stuff there, whatever happens here, Tim. But I'm going to look forward to see how Archie can try and challenge, as well as Scope, as well. Bear in mind, as I say, a reminder, guys, this is an equal performance cars tonight and next week, because the admins are going to try and assess what driving pace they're on for the rest of the season in 2 weeks' time. Are you looking forward to it, Tim?
I'm absolutely looking forward. It's going to be an amazing season, and I look forward to being here for every single race and being able to commentate with you, and then of course commentate for the F1 League on Wednesdays. This is going to be an amazing season for Invictus Racing, and I want to ask you now, Malk, while we're doing the formation lap, it's a 33-lap race, and you were talking about tires earlier and how the soft tires can last about 8 laps. Do you think that in this race tonight we're going to see drivers maybe pulling tire strategy and trying to stay out longer on tires so that, and then maybe pull in, get soft tires or something along those lines in order to try to get them a little bit of an advantage later on in the race?
It depends. I mean, if you're a medium tyre, you could last up to probably about 12 to 15 laps, I think, as a guess. And then you've got the hards, which definitely go about 18 laps, about 18, 19 laps. 20 is a push, but 18 definitely for the hard tyres. So, for me personally, I think it's going to be a one-stop race. But if you're in the softs, you've got no choice but to do a two-stop. You can't do softs, hards. We'll have to wait and see what happens here tonight. But wish you all the best of luck, Tim. When we do the countdown as of now, we've got 1 lights, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights, and we are off. Go, go, go! Great start there from Scope. This could be a 2-in-a-bed situation here. Oh, Mr. Scorsese moves up to second place. Archie's made a slow start there. Oh, what a move from Mr. Scorsese, but Paul's from third to first. What a move there. A little bit of contact there from the back there. Madness stuff here. What's been your action so far, Tim?
Currently looking at the lead, we have the 2 Haas cars running 1 and 2, but right now, Archie in that Alfa Romeo is putting an absolutely enormous amount of pressure on that Haas of Scopefielder. What has happened now, Malk, as we see Aaron in the Ferrari coming up in 4th?
There's been a contact. There's been contact from Nitrogash and some of the other drivers here. He's lost his front wing there. The silly bag moment is not happy on that situation. Oh my days! Who's the Williams driver? The Ferocious Dan. Ferocious Dan just hit the back of one of the Ferrari cars. I believe it was Mike's car. So he's lost his lost a bit of his front wing stuff. But now Ferocious Dan and Nitrogas will have to do a early pit based on the medium tyres that they were on earlier on. Bad start from Ferocious Dan and Nitrogas.
Now, while you're watching the battle and the contact in the back of the pack, Mr. Sky has now got out to a lead. He is now in approximately a 1-second lead, 0.7 to be exact. Scopefielder is currently eating into that lead, but it is Mr. Sky, Scopefielder, Archie, Aaron JS, and SJD is our top 5. And Mr. Sky, you were mentioning him earlier, he might walk away with this win. It's very early to tell, of course, but so far he seems to have a pretty fast car.
Yeah, he's got the quickest car at the moment here. So I was just watching as you was talking about it, Tim. I mean, to be fair, looking at it, it depends on how everyone else can manage the pace. It doesn't matter if you win many races. If you're not consistent, you will not win the Drivers' Championship or Constructors. You need to have that momentum going. You need to have that consistency. Do you agree with that, Tim?
I absolutely agree with that, and as we were talking about earlier, where I follow NASCAR, it is the same concept, and really it seems like it's the same concept in any motor racing series that you're racing for points, that you need to remain consistent because you have to get those points on the board.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm just watching some of the battles at the back there. I've just seen we might have a train going on. We might have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-car battle here in a minute from Saab. So it'll be the Saab train, Saab, Energy Dan, Colin J, Dre Gio, and Mike having a ding-dong battle here. During the streams, I always say we might have a 2 or 3 in a bed. Scope's got the fastest lap of the race with a 1:24.2.
Scopefielder is eating into that lead of Mr. Sky. It was 0.7 seconds about a lap ago. Now it's down to only half a second. And Scopefielder, he's wanting this lead, but he's not going to push it. What has happened now?
Just seeing some 2-in-a-bed situation there between Luke Bailey and Sir Spud. Luke, you use the force, Luke. On that one, again, so nicely heard of Sir Spud on that one. We got Colin J trying to close in on Energy Dan for 8th place here. I mean, who are you watching at the moment here, Tim?
I'm currently watching what you were talking about, the battle of Luke Bailey and Sir Spud in that Mercedes. He was trying to go wide a couple corners ago on the outside, but he did not make it work. So far, Luke Bailey is still in that 12th position ahead of Sir Spud, as now we're going to go up to Dre Gio, as it appears he almost went off the track, but he keeps it on track, and just ahead of him we have Colin J and Energy Dan, the Mercedes and the Racing Point, racing pretty close, almost nose to tail.
Oh, close stuff here. I was just watching what you were saying there, Tim. This is going to be a belter. There will be DRS coming up in this next lap here. So we might have to go back to the top 3 in a minute, but I want to see if Colin J can try and close in on Energy Dan for 8th, or try and do it before. Bear in mind, Energy Dan is on the hard tyre, so he's going to go long on the tyre wear. But Colin J needs to get past him as quickly as possible. Scope did get the quickest lap of the race, but he's 2 tenths behind Mr. Scotty. But Colin J could have a chance here on Energy Dan here. Energy Dan's already got a defensive move. He's just holding on there, but we've got a 4-car battle here. Brilliant stuff, absolutely brilliant. Over to you, Tim.
I'm still watching the battle between Energy Dan and Colin J, and it is actually really close. And you said that the DRS is going to be activated this lap, and I do agree. Eventually, we will have to revisit those top 3, and actually, I did momentarily, and Scopefielder is just ever so slightly still eating into that lead. He almost doesn't need DRS, but I suspect that as soon as DRS is activated, Scopefielder will inherit the lead within a lap or 2, as we still see Energy Dan and Colin J battling out, and we're actually going to ride on board with Colin J because he has the best view of what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm just watching it from his point of view here. I'm still watching. We might have a few car battle for the first DRS straight here. Oh, doing it! Oh, I thought, wait, looked at it from the camera view there. Colin J, we've got a 4-car battle. Dre Gio nearly hit the back of Colin J. That could have been disaster stuff here. This is a belter of a race here. Oh my days! Tim, brilliant stuff.
Absolutely brilliant. I just sneezed. I had to mute my mic and sneeze, so I'm a little discombobulated right here. But you see, that's just what happens. The race gets so exciting, I have to sneeze right in the middle of the action.
Oh, why you sneezed? Could it be? Oh, I thought there could have been a battle here. But tell you what, Mike's made a mistake here on 11th place. This could be a chance for Luke the Force, Star Wars there, moment here in 12th place here. This is going to be a belter of a race here. Brilliant stuff. Oh, I don't even know what I'm saying next. I might retire after this. Oh. Back to you, Tim.
While you were watching that, I checked in on our leaders, and Scopefielder has now shortened that lead. He was down to 0.3 seconds. Now he's back up to half a second, but he is ever so slightly, with each passing lap, closing in on Mr. Sky. As now I see we have a yellow flag in Sector 2. What has happened?
Something must have happened. Dre Gio's gone wide. He's gone off the track there. So something must have happened with Dre Gio.
Yep, watching him right now on my screen, he just pulled out of the gravel trap. Lucky he didn't get stuck there. Now he's pulling away, but he is rejoining this race in the 13th position. A very unfortunate event for Dre Gio. Did you see what happened?
I only briefly saw him went off track, going up the hill, pardon me. Going up the hill, Sab's pitting in already. Oh, we might have a 2 in a bed. Colin J's going to try and close in on Energy Dan for 7th place here. Sab's just going to drop down to 12. Oh, 2 in a bed.
He's using that DRS.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Oh, he's still holding on. He's not holding on. Energy Dan's holding on. Oh, I thought, no, that could have been nasty stuff there. But Colin J's holding on there. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant battle. Brilliant holding on there from Energy Dan. Energy Dan would be thinking, what do I need to do to get the train off? It's the Energy Dan train now.
Amazing defensive driving from Energy Dan, as he is absolutely looking in his mirrors, looking behind him, just trying to hold off Colin J. But Colin J just giving it absolutely everything he's got, and I'm honestly surprised that Energy Dan has been able to hang on this long on the hard tires. I almost think that Energy Dan is just taking up the racing line, thus preventing Colin J from finding a suitable way around. But he is going to eventually. Colin J is very determined to get by him, as we're going to ride on board with him and watch.
Yeah, while you're watching that there, I'm going to have a quick look at the top 3 while you're watching that, Tim. I mean, this is a the three-way battle for the top end here. Viscosi is still holding on for first. Schofield is in second place. We might have a 2 in a bed from Viscosi. It'd be a push for a 3 in a bed, but this could be a 2 in a bed. Still not enough speed. Viscosi may only have got the straight line speed, but Scope might have the beneficial of the cornering speed. But Scope's really closing in on Viscosi. Colin James moved up to 7th. Do you agree, Tim?
Yeah, I actually went and watched, and apparently I chose the wrong time, but I went and watched the battle for the lead, and now Colin J has in fact got in front of Energy Dan in that racing point. Of course, Colin J in the Mercedes, and now he is pulling away. Not surprising, as he is on the medium tires and Energy Dan is on the hard, but eventually, as you said, we're going to see Energy Dan move up the field a little bit due to pit strategy because of those hard tires.
Yeah, absolutely. But bear in mind, Energy Dan will probably have to pit on lap 16 to 19, depending on how the tyre wear. We've got yellow flag set to 1, Tim. Yellow flag set to 1. So something must happen on Ferocioustan. It's dropped down from 13th to 15th. So something must happen from Ferociotan on that situation there. I won't have a look yet, but I just wanted to see this battle for the top 3. I might have to switch back to Mike, who's trying to close in on Energy Dan after Colin J has overtook him.
Currently looking at that battle with Mike and Energy Dan. Energy Dan is still ahead of him by a couple car lengths, but it looks like Mike's is just ever so slowly trying to eat away into not really a lead, but that eighth place gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Estrad's got a 5 seconds penalty for speeding the pit lane. He did not want that at all. We got a red ball to give him wings to try and close in on Sir Knightley Huddersfield Spud, who's got the DRS as well. But Luke has got the force in him to push into. Could have been for 9th place, but we might have a 3. So Spud's gone wide there, but he's still holding on. He's still holding on for turn 3, I believe. Coming up to the end of the first sector here. Brilliant stuff here. Brilliant battles, whatever happens here, Tim.
Very brilliant. Currently watching that battle with Luke Bailey. Going to revisit the top 3 here in just a moment, but this is just too good to turn away from, as that Red Bull of Luke Bailey is really putting the pressure on Sir Spud, and he is not giving up, but neither is Sir Spud. Spud knows he's there, and Spud is putting absolutely amazing defensive maneuvers, as the Red Bull almost got into the back of that Merc.
Yeah, I was just saying, oh, unbelievable. Oh, what? This could be a move. Two in a bed situation with Luke Bailey. The force is with him, always. But Spud is trying to go on the side, inside. Oh, my God, that was a late
It looked like there might have been even some contact. I don't know. And Sir Spud spins. He spins. He is in the grass. Sir Spud is in the grass, off the track, and through the gravel trap. He is now rejoining this race, but no longer in the position he was in. He is rejoining in the 10th position. Such an unfortunate mishap for Sir Spud. Just looked like he got too loose going into that corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching it as well there. So this is hopefully, I don't know if Spud might have to pit. Yeah, he's pitting now. Oh, Mike, late break. Late break. A little bit of contact there between himself and Energy Dan. Energy Dan's gone back up to 7th. Late break in there. So Spud's got a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane.
While you were watching that, Archie is now taking second place away from Mr. Sky, as Scopefielder's in the lead by about half a second, and it looks like Archie is wanting to take that lead away, but he has half a second gap to make up, but he is looking for a line.
Yeah, I'm surprised about Mr. Sky. Do you think, here's a question for you, Tim, do you think Mr. Sky, oh, Energy Dan's lost it. Energy Dan's lost it up the hill. He's lost it up the hill, and now Mike has got a chance to move to 7th, and Luke has gone up to 8th here. Sorry about that, Tim. The question I was about to ask you was, do you think Mr. Scorsese has lost the tyre wear already after 8 laps of the mediums?
It's been 8 laps, and he had a pretty decent lead there early on. I almost feel as if maybe he tried to run just a little too quick. So I think it's very possible that, yeah, his tires have just started to wear. He just maybe wasn't able to manage them as well as other drivers. Of course, there is also the alternative that he might just be trying to save his stuff now.
I'm looking at the ERS mode here. He's still on 2. He's trying to build it up, but Jos isn't the same, but he's only got less ERS mode of 22% at the moment here, but while Mr. Scott's got 52%, so he's got a chance of pulling away through the ERS, not the DRS straight here, but we've got a 4-car battle here, Tim. 4-car battle here for first place on the debut of our duo commentary. What do you think so far after 10 laps of this race?
I mean, I think it's been absolutely amazing. We've seen some really close racing and some really clean racing. Usually when cars go off track, there's going to be, some hurt feelings here and there, but so far there hasn't really been a lot of contact today, and it's just been a lot of hard racing and close racing, which is what I love to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not familiar. I know the NASCAR series and stuff, but I'm not like a big fan of stuff. But I bet you it's kind of the similarity stuff, isn't it? From this racing, do you agree, Tim?
Well, NASCAR has its own issues as far as passing, but I guess all racing series do. But yeah, the way that they're running so close, when you watch a NASCAR race on a road course like Sonoma or Watkins Glen, it actually looks about like that, honestly, because the cars are very close together. They're only about half a second or so apart, and that's what makes for great racing, I think. Just, having close cars, because racing is a close quarter sport, and at times a contact sport. So it just makes for great racing when they're able to be right there near each other, as Mr. Sky has pulled out of the pits now, and here in a minute we are going to see what tires he has put on. He has, in fact, put on the hard tires. Mr. Sky has pitted. He has rejoined the race in lap 6. He is now on the hard tires.
Oh, okay. I reckon he'll probably go up to lap 25, 26, I think, and then put on the softs at the end, I think, to get the fastest lap. I reckon it'll be a 2-stop from Mr. Sky, unless he does 22, 23 laps on the hards, which it's a bit of a push, I would say. Do you agree with that, Tim?
It is a push, but I have seen drivers do it. I do not remember the name right off. I want to say it was Scope Builder, but I'm not sure. Do not quote me on that. But there was a race in Mexico in the Performance League last season where everyone except for the winner made 2 stops, and he made it on a 1-stop strategy by saving his tires. And until later on in the race, he had no idea that he was putting himself in position for the win. He was just, I talked to him after the race. He was telling me he was just trying different things, and it worked for him. So maybe we're going to see something like that today.
We'll have to wait and see what happens here. This could be frantic stuff here. Luke Bailey's trying to close in on Mike now for 5th place here, and this could be a belter. Oh, nearly got there, but not much battle there so far in this race. We'll go through the standings now. We've got Scope in the lead in 1st place. We've got Yoss in 2nd place. We've got Archie on that one in 3rd place. We've got Mr. Sky C, the Vavavoom, the French guy, in 4th place. You've got Mike, the Slovenian legend. I always call him the Slovenian legend. If you tell him that, he's an absolute legend on that one, Tim. You got Luke Bailey in 6th place. The Force is in with him, as always, in 6th. You got Aaron J. Spence is in 7th place. You got SJD is in 8th. You got Energy down in 9th. Colin J in 10th. Saab is in 11th. Nitrogash is in 12th. Susblood is in 13th. Frostad is in 14th. And Dre Gia is in 15th place. And Scope and Yoss have both pitted on their. Scope's got a 5-second penalty for speed. Right. I've noticed as well, I don't know if you've been on the game much on here, but I've noticed there's been quite a few penalties regarding the speed entry into the. Oh, Mike's gone wide. Bobby, Mike's gone a little bit wide through the chicane section. Luke Bailey's going to the pits.
That other Ferrari of Aaron is going to now put pressure on Mike's. As I changed and I saw he went very wide in that final corner.
Yeah, he's gone wide there, but Aaron Spence. Oh, now I was worried that
I feel like that was a situation where Mike decided that Aaron was faster than him and that he just let him go, because otherwise I feel like there would have been a lot more fight on Mike's part. But I see what you were saying. I was also afraid there for a minute that maybe they were going to make some contact.
Yeah, absolutely. But luckily, touch wood, like tapping wood now. Hopefully there'll be luckily there was no issues there, no tissues as we speak. But Scope is still holding on for first. Archie's trying to close in under a second there. But like I said, we've got a 4-car battle here again for the top 4 at the moment here. But Yoss is more attacking Mr. Scorsese than Archie is to Scope. Do you agree with that, Tim?
I apologize. I did not hear that. Can you ask me that question again?
Yes, all right. Do you, based on the situation, Yoss is more closer to Smith Scorsese and could the overtake here compared to what Archie did with Scope?
Looks like there's going to be a move now. There is a move as the Rideau goes around Mr. Sky. Yoss goes right around Mr. Sky. I think that answers your question right there, Malk, as that was an incredible move and great driving by both of them. No contact whatsoever, just a clean pass going into the first corner.
Oh, brilliant move there from Yoss. Absolutely there from Tim. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely belter. Oh, absolutely. Tim, the legendary commentator. I'm going to call you from now on, mate, a proper legend. Even though we've only just debuted for the first 14 laps of the season, that one's a legend you are, mate. Mr. Scorsese still holding on for 4th, trying to close in on Yoss again for 3rd place. But I think Mr. Scorsese is going to try and go all the way here. I think he's going to try and save those tyres. I don't think he's trying to attempt to get first because 20 laps, do you agree? 20 laps? It's good. I know I've probably said this, earlier on, but do you think 20 laps is a bit of a push in your part if you've gambled for it?
I truly cannot say. As when I played the 2018 version of this game, I would run 25% races. I'm now only started running 50% races. So my knowledge on the tire wear, I don't have a good feel for it. But what I do want to point out is Energy Dan, he started this race on the hard tires. We expected him to maybe move up the pack. But we've seen pit stops now, and now it looks like the top 5 have pitted for hard tires, and he hasn't really moved up much at all. So I think that starting on the mediums or the soft, as some of these drivers have done, was actually the better choice than starting on the hards.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, Luke Bailey's gone off the track. Luke Bailey's gone off the track on sector 3. Something must happen there from Luke Bailey. I don't know if there was any contact or anything. He made a mistake up the hill or the gravel part there, but Mike has pitted from the mediums to the hards. He did do 13 laps on the medium tyre, so I did guess between 13 maybe 15 laps of the medium tyre, but depending on if he started on the mediums and had 2 laps of it, depends on how it goes from that situation there, Tim. But so far on this, we're not even halfway. We're just probably about another lap or 2 away from the halfway marker. But who's been your driver of the day so far while we get the counting, shall we say, or the picks of the races tonight?
Well, I'm going to have to definitely say Yoss, because earlier on in this race, I noticed that he was running about 6th place, and I was thinking, oh man, he's not going to be able to make that up. But now we see him running in 3rd. Of course, there has been some pit strategy going on, and what has happened, Malk?
Oh, Mr. Scorsese could have had a chance to overtake Yoss on, as you was mentioning about Yoss to be the driver of the day so far at this race, but this could be a belter. Colin James moved on to 7th, passing Energy Dan in the DRS straight, but Energy Dan may have a chance to overtake Colin J, but because Colin J's got the DRS straight now. Madness stuff, and I'm going to lose my voice here if I don't be careful here. Madness stuff here. Tim, carry on.
We were watching the same battle, as I noticed that coming out of that final corner to complete the last lap, that the Merc put himself in position, Colin J did, in order to pass that not Force India, excuse me, Racing Point machine, and then he just absolutely made the move before they even got to the corner, and now Colin J is absolutely pulling away from Energy Dan. Now Energy Dan, of course, on those hard tires, he has 15 laps versus Colin J having only 4 laps on his tires. So definitely newer tires coming into play in that battle.
Yeah, absolutely stuff. We'll have to wait and see what happens here in this situation, but I'm watching Mr. Scorsese try to close in on Yoss still. But that was a great battle there from Colin J and Energy Dan, as you were saying earlier on there, Tim. But like I said, if we're on the halfway marker now of the Espanyol Spanish, the Barcelona, the Catalunya track. as always, well, Catania is always thinking of Barcelona FC Football Club on that one. But like I said, the track itself, it's going to be frantic stuff here, and it's been a belter of a race here. If this is what it's going to be like for the rest of the season for the performance type cars, I would not be surprised if I reckon Scope, Archie, Yoss, and Sky C will probably battle it out for like the Williams / Sauber cars, or you know what I mean, like the lower type cars in this the season coming up. Do you agree with that, Tim?
You actually cut out for a minute in my headphones. I'm sorry. Could you ask that again?
Yeah, it's all right. Looking at the top four, do you think they'll be in what I say lesser car like Williams or not McLaren, sorry, but like I don't know what's the next, Force India, I think it is. Do you think they could be in that category, that type of cars for the performance type? Do you agree, Tim?
Perhaps. We're gonna have to wait and see. You know, of course, time will tell, but I think it's a possibility for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But I think at the moment Scope's doing a fantastic job here, holding on for first to try and pull away from Archie Barchie. I'm not saying Archie Barchie as in ding dong bow here with the cars at the moment, but he's still doing a good job here, holding on in second. Yoss is trying everything he can. Sorry, carry on, Tim.
Oh no, you're completely fine. I'm actually watching the same battle you are with Archie and Yoss right now, and Archie I'm noticing he's absolutely driving that car on the edge, using every bit of racetrack and then some to try to keep that position. He definitely wants a podium here, if not a win. Of course he wants a win, but with Scope Fielder being 2.7 seconds ahead, I'm not sure if that is a possibility. At least at the moment is Yoss! Yoss has spun! He has spun and he's in the grass! He has hit the wall! Wing damage! Yoss's day is officially done! Very unfortunate for Yoss. He had one of the fastest cars here today. I don't know what happened. Maybe he lost connection or he simply just spun, but Yoss, a DNF for today.
I just saw the car on the right hand side there. I didn't see the actual incident there, but it's just when you told me there, Tim. Locke said I saw the car. He must have gone up the hill, hit the curb, lost the car, and he must have hit the wall and like silly bang, like bang, and the wing and the wheel has gone on that one. So Yoss, who had a magnificent race so far in this race, has now had the first DNF of the season, of the pre-season races of the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League. There's only one league this season. There's not two leagues from last season, because like I said, me and Tim are doing the duo for the commentary for this season, which will be live and exclusive. Yeehaw! That's what Tim would like to say on that one. So I bet you're laughing your head off there when I did the yeehaw moment on that one.
Maybe a little bit. I actually usually don't say yeehaw.
Oh, okay, fair dues. I'd put me down on that one. Yeehaw! No. But yeah, that's why I see what happens here. But we've got a bit of car split now. Look, not much of a gap as much, but the only thing that's closest battle so far is Mrs. Sky Z with 2 seconds. At the moment, that's the only battle we've got close in. But looking at it so far here, have you seen the calendar coming up this season? What's your thoughts on the calendar? Have you seen the calendar this season, Tim?
I have not actually. I was actually too busy just worrying about when the season started that I neglected to actually look at all the seasons in order. So go ahead and talk about that for a minute here.
So while we're waiting for, I'm just going to load up the calendar stuff. Oh, Saab's dropped down to 11th. What's happened to Saab? Oh,
looks
Saab?
like he's going to suffer a DNF. Not sure what happened. Do you have any word?
I've just seen the there, but we've got yellow flags after first sector, I believe.
It's in Sector 2, and Spud went off the track. He didn't wreck, but he did go off the track. He's running very slow right now. Not sure what's going on with Sir Spud, and not sure what's going on with Saab either.
I think Saab's done exactly the same as what happened with Yoss, unless I'm mistaken. I'm waiting to see if there's any yellow flags here before we talk about the calendar situation here. So Spud's gone wide there a little bit there. Yeah, Sab has done the exact same thing as what happened with Yoss, because I'm just watching Sir Spud. Sir Spud's going really wide. He's going the wrong track there from what I'm watching there. But looking at it from the point of view here, Tim, we've got two battles, slowly battles coming up soon. We've got Mr. Skyseat and Archie for second and third, and then we also got Luke and Mike for 8th and 9th respectively on that one. So while I'm waiting for that, I'm just waiting for the calendar to come up now. Like I said, we were at Spain for pre-season 1. We got Mexico next week for pre-season race 2, but that's the finale of the pre-season. So Spud has retired. So we've had 3 DNFs, Tim,
now,
within the last...
Do you have any idea what actually happened to Spud? Is actually, it doesn't look like... Well, actually, yes, he has retired, but I'm currently watching him right now. They're in the pits and they're working on the car, but now the game has changed for me to watch Scope Filter. It is official, Sir Spud DNF. Do you have any idea what happened there?
I think when I saw him earlier on, when he went wide, he had a 10-second penalty, so I don't know whether he was still going to carry on to racing, but I think there may have been an incident before that which we didn't see on camera here. But looking at it from everyone's point of view, we've got a slowly battle going on. We've got Ferocious Stan and Dre Gio for 11th and 12th, while I'll try and get the calendar up now. While we're waiting for this battle coming up, pardon me, we've got Mexico next week. That's the finale of the pre-season races. That's the last chance for the guys to make sure that they're all prepped up and ready to go. And then we've got Austria round 1 in 2 weeks' time. Monaco, which we've never raced at all for a very long time. So this will be the first time in ages we've seen Monaco back in Invictus Racing Leagues. We've got France, we've got Japan, Brazil, Belgium. Then we have the week break. Then we've got Australia, China, Bahrain, Singapore, Canada, and then Germany for the finale race of the Invictus Racing League for the calendar for this season for all leagues, not just the Performance League, but everyone else for the no assist and also the equal leagues. Which Tim, you're doing the F1, aren't you, tomorrow? Is that correct?
Yes.
So Tim will do the F1 live exclusive. I think Energydan will be doing F2, unless I'm mistaken. And F3 will be me, as always. SJD has gone into the pits for the fresh medium tyre. Nitrogas has done 20 laps on the hard tyres so far. So that's interesting stuff. But as I was mentioning about the calendar to you, Tim, has there been any interesting ones while we're waiting for some battles going on?
Well, you mentioned Monaco, and you mentioned how Invictus hasn't raced at Monaco yet, so this will be the first time. And right after the schedule was released, I was looking in the chat that we're in on PSN here, as we have a yellow flag in Sector 3. Unknown what's going on right now, but where you say that we're going to be racing at Monaco, I just have a sense that there's going to be a lot of hurt feelings and a lot of DNFs at that track. And I believe even Yoss said that he is actually a little concerned about running Monaco, or a little nervous, because, as you said, none of us have... Invictus hasn't raced there before, so it's going to be I'm going to say it's going to be a very interesting experience, to say the least, and the rest we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens here, whatever happens in this situation here. But looking at it from this point of view here, with the Monaco, we've never raced for quite a long time, so as you said, some of the drivers will be absolutely nervous and they don't want to make any mistakes here. But before I carry on, we might have a 2-car battle here. We might have a 2-in-a-bed situation here between Mike and SJD. Dre Gio's retired from the session. Oh! SJD moves up. He moves up. One of the McLaren drivers has gone off track. Oh, that was Dre Gio.
Dre Gio in 12th place with a DNF. We now have 4 cars out.
Absolutely madness stuff here. You've still got yellow flag set to 1. Yellow flag set to 1, so that might be still be Dre Gio situation here. But we might have a 3-car battle here soon. We've got SJD, Mike and Luke Bailey coming up soon for the 3-car battle. But it might be Luke against Mike soon in this battle here, because SJD is going to try and pull away from Mike as quickly as possible on the fresher medium tyre. So he's going to go all the way with the medium tyres. He might do actually, here's a question for you. Do you think SJD would get into the top 4 based on everyone's pits, or do you think it's going to be a tough struggle based on 10 laps left?
With only 10 laps left and SJD running in 7th position right now, I don't see him getting into the top 4 at all. I highly doubt that any of our top 3 to 5 competitors at the moment are going to pit because they do not want to give up that precious track position. So I think that the best thing that they can do is stay out right now and just run on the tires they've got, where SJD on the mediums, I don't even... He might be able to get by Nitro Gash. It's a 2-second gap between SJD and Nitro Gash. Or, no, excuse me, it's a 2-second gap between Mike's and SJD. So Mike's might be able to get by SJD. But SJD, I don't even think he'll be able to catch Nitro Gash. So unless there's a couple of wrecks, I don't see him getting into the top 4. And even Mike's, right, he's now starting to drop back just a little bit. I think it's those hard tires versus those mediums.
Yeah, I think Mike's lost because of the, as you said, the tyre wear and the tyre type is a difference there. But for us, that's got 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Scopefield did the fastest lap of 1:22, I believe. So that's a cracking time from Scope here tonight. Like I said, good evening to everyone that's joined the session. I hope you came well. We are live and exclusive at the Espanyol Spain track, at the Catalonia track. Oh, no, Luke nearly lost it there. The force was not with him. Zoom, zoom, like with the lightsaber trying to hold on there. But like I said, with the Red Bull, that gives them wings on that one. But hopefully it will give them that energy boost there. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. But we might have a battle here. SJD is going to close in on Nitro Gash here for 6th place here, Tim. Do you want to carry on with that?
For 6th place, Nitro Gash and College A. And now it looks like the Renault of SJD is making a move on Nitro Gash going into turn 1. Is he going to make it stick? Nitro Gash has the preferred line. Nitro Gash spins it into the wall as Nitro Gash, that Red Bull, into the wall. A DNF for Nitro Gash as SJD will, in fact, get that 6th position, if anything, by default.
Oh, no. Nitro Gash is on 23 laps of the hard tyres because he was trying to not cause any accident between himself and SJD. Nitro Gash, oh, he's gone wide. He's lost a bit of his front wing there. So, like I said, he'll have to go back into the pits. But like I said, we had 15 started. We've got 11 remaining. Fresh standers in the pits now. Hopefully, we will see some more action coming up soon. Like I said, I really do hope, and I've said this before, Fresh Stan has retired from the session now. I will say this to you now, Tim. Nitro Gash is one of the unluckiest drivers I have known. I mean, he's one of the greatest guys I ever known for many, many years. He tries to do the Midlands accent. When I say Midlands accent, because I'm from the Midlands in the UK, that's why he just takes the try to do the best Midlands accent, and he does it spot on there, to be fair. But like I said, Nitro Gash is the only one who I really do, for me, I really do hope he bounces back from this race, and I really do hope he does well this season, to be honest, Tim.
As do I. He ran a few races in, or maybe even the full season, because I actually missed part of the season in the Performance League last season, but I digress. He ran some races, and he would always run about back of the pack, and I'm going to say right now, when I see drivers running in the back of the pack, never ever do I think that they're not a good driver. Never do I think that they cannot put down a quick lap. I always just assume that maybe it's not a good track for them, or maybe they just haven't gotten their bearings in the car yet. And I believe that he even had a few incidents where maybe he would spin, just lose the car in a corner, and you're right, he is just pretty unlucky, and it would be brilliant to see a comeback for him, especially considering he had, what was he running, approximately 7th or 8th at the time, which was a decent run, and now he's all the way back down to 10th, which is the last car on the track so far with the 5 DNFs that we've had. So very unfortunate for Nitro Gash, and as you said, I really hope that he's able to rebound, at least for his sake, because it would just be a nice feel-good story.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, for me personally, I really do hope, and you as well, Tim, to make sure that Nitro Gash will bounce back this season, whatever happens here. I'm sure he will. He's definitely a fighter there. But bear in mind, like I said, while we're talking about nitric gas, we've got some of the other drivers who are battling out for the top 3 at the moment. We've got Mr. Skies to slowly try and close in on Archie now for second place. We've got another battle going on between Mike and Luke Bailey for 7th and 8th respectively. So we've got 5 to 6 laps remaining here. Yeah, 5 to 6 laps remaining of this frantic Spanish Grand Prix for the pre-season race of the Performance League. Bear in mind, guys, a reminder, this is they're doing it in equal cars so that it's easier for the admins to pick the perfect cars for the start of the season. Probably. But like I said, Tim, I mean, watching this. Oh, also make sure you like and subscribe to the Invictus from my channel on the WFC_07 channel, and also the Invictus Racing League, the F1 League, which Tim is commentating on at the same time as of now. Make sure you follow, guys. Like I said, Tim, absolute legend, whatever happens here tonight.
I appreciate it, Malk, and it's been really fun working with you two. Maybe we're both going to be a pair of legends this whole season. Craig called us a dream team, I believe.
Dream team. Dream team, you know what, the commentary team on that one. We'll have to wait and see what happens next. Bish bash, beeping bosh on that one. Quadruple B's on that one. So like I said, we mentioned Yost to be the driver of the day at the halfway point before he had the crash, before he had the DNF. Who's been your driver of the day at the moment here now? Your opinion?
It's definitely going to have to be Schofield, just because he has been able to run, you know, a debatably flawless race, as he is in the lead, and he has held the lead for most of this race. Pretty much ever since he's inherited it, he hasn't lost it, except for maybe during the pit stops. And of course, close second and third, and I'm not just saying this, I'm not just going by the running order, but a close second and third goes to Archie and Mr. Sky, as they have, Archie has ran top 3 all day, and Mr. Sky, he dropped back there for a little bit, but then he was able to rebound to what is now looking like at least a podium position.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, this has been a cracker of a race, whatever happens here. But can I just remind you, Tim, Nigel Gash, who's on the quicker soft tyre, he's had the fastest lap of the race, and that's what I like to see from the flying Nitro Gash in the Red Bull. That gives him wings on that one. Just waiting for the fastest lap. 122.6, so that's the fastest lap of the race, beating Scopes by 4 thousandths of a second there. So he's on fire at the minute, Nigel Gash, but he's got 38 seconds gap between himself and an energy down to try and catch back into 9th place. But it could, like I said, because of the penalty situations and the gap there, I think it's a big of an ask there from Nigel Gash to get back into 9th here. But would you see any action going on? Who do you think there'll be? Will there be any moves in the next 4 laps, would you say, Tim?
To be honest, I do not see that happening at all. The closest that might happen is Luke Bailey in that Red Bull and Mike's in that Ferrari, as Luke Bailey is 1.5 seconds and Mr. Sky is about the same behind Archie, both of them about 1.5 seconds. So if they're going to make a move, they're going to have to step it up and go right now. But I really, unless there is a wreck or a spin or something, I don't see our running order changing from now until the finish.
Okay, so I'm not being a betting man here, Tim, but Tim's gambling. I'm sure he's gambling to say that what you see is what you're going to get for the standings here. I think there'll be a shot between Mr. Skycy and Archie, as well as Luke and Mike battle here, but it depends on Luke's tyre wear, because he's already on 17 laps of the hard tyre here. But looking at it now, I think Mr. Skycy is going to have a chance to try and close in on Archie now. But Archie's got more of an ERS mode than Mr. Skycy has. What was you going to say, Tim? Sorry.
You're fine, Malk. The S's, the section that Mr. Sky just went through a few laps ago, he actually took a bad line through there and he lost quite a bit of time, but he has since gained that and he has cut the lead down, or the gap down, to 1.3 seconds, and I was almost expecting him to maybe mess up in that section again, because, you know, I've drove this track on the game a few times. That is a difficult section, those S's. I really don't like them, and that honestly would be my worst section of the race if I was running. So very good job that time around by Mr. Sky. And if he can get the DRS, he has a shot at Archie. It's just that, will he be able to get the DRS in the 2 laps that are remaining?
It just depends on how he can capitalise on it, mate, to be honest. I mean, looking at it from his point of view and looking at it from Archie's point of view, I think Archie's got this nailed in the bag with the 2nd place. SJD got the fastest lap of the race with a 1:22.6. Bear in mind, SJD and Nitrogas did have a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. They did not want that at all. They did not want that at all. But like I said, we've got 3 laps remaining. Mike's left the session. Mike has left the session. That could be a disconnection issue. Yeah, it's a disconnection issue. He's still driving in the AI, so this means Luke Bailey will have the chance to overtake Mike here on track here, which did not want that to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
back in?
No, I don't believe so. His car is currently ghosted, at least on my screen, and he's just dropping like a rock. I mean, as you said, it looks like the AI has taken over, and I mean, I guess I was wrong that obviously the finishing order has changed, or the running order has changed a little bit. Unfortunate for Mike's. He was running, 7th, which, even though we're not running for points today, that would be, in a regular race, a points position and a solid run, but unfortunate for Mike's, definitely.
Oh, definitely there, but it could compromise a little bit here if he doesn't get back in quickly, because Mike could drop down to even 9th here from Energy Dan, coming up slowly, closing in on Mike here. We're on the penultimate lap. We're on the penultimate lap of the Spanish Grand Prix, lap 32-33 of the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League. With the most, Tim, the legendary Tim from the Performance League 2 last season, joining the duo with me this season. And I tell you what, this is a brilliant duo, whatever happens here this season. I can't stop saying this season because it's just a habit here, Tim, on that one. So, what do you think's going to happen next? Do you think there'll be more shocks, or do you think, oh, we're on the finale lap? We're on the finale lap.
Yeah, white flag. White flag in the air, 1 to go. Scope Filter has crossed the line. As you were saying, Malcolm, my apologies for the interruption. And Mr. Sky has dropped down. He had about a 1.5 second deficit. Is now increased to 2 seconds. So with this being the final lap, I don't see any way that Mr. Sky is going to get by Archie, except for a big mistake by Archie, which really all he has to do is ride around and make a few decent corners, and Archie will, in fact, clinch this 2nd place, as Scope Filter, of course, is in the lead by a full 10 seconds. An almost flawless race ran by Scope Filter here today. Absolutely impressive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff there from Scope. Archie as well, done a magnificent job there as well. And also Mr. Sky C, the Drivers' Champion from the Performance League 1 last season, and the double Drivers' Champion from the 2 seasons of the Performance League 1. So be interesting stuff to see what happens here. But the last corner here coming up, and can I just say a massive congratulations to Scope Filter, who's just won the Spanish Grand Prix, the pre-season race. He had a 5-second time penalty unserved, so Archie would go down to 5. He will be absolutely livid, because I think it would have been a close call between himself and Scope if he can try and cut it. But like I said, Tim, brilliant drive from Scope, Archie, and Sky C for the top 3.
Definitely, and I'm going to say that in my short time commentating for Invictus, that was the first time that I've seen the leader get a penalty and still walk away with the win. But that's just because he had such a big lead. I mean, there at the end it was a 10-second lead, so with that penalty it was put down to only 5.9 seconds. That was just a fantastic lead, and I'm almost wondering, he only had, his tires were only a lap fresher than Archie. What helped him get that lead? What propelled him to that lead?
I think it was because he had that momentum with the car and momentum of the track, and could be Archie and Sky were having a ding-dong battle probably about during that race. Scope just pounced to that moment and just try and pull away. If the 2 drivers are battling out, and the other driver's got a good chance of just pulling away from that, because you don't want to get tussled with it, if you know what I mean. So it's a magnificent magnificent drive, whatever happens here from Scope. So Scope could be the one to watch this season, depending on what happens here, Tim.
Definitely, and as I said at the beginning, Scope is definitely a driver that you do not want to count out, along with Yoss and Archie. He's already showing some strength, and there were 6 DNFs, I believe, actually, in this race. So there are 6 drivers who have not yet shown their full potential. So let's not count anybody out just yet.
Definitely. We just going to do a quick race classification. Race classification for the Spanish Grand Prix for the Performance League for the Invictus Racing League. We've got Scope in first, Archie in second, Mr. Scorsese in third, Aaron J. Spence, brilliant drive from him in fourth, Colin J in fifth, brilliant drive from him, SJD as well, brilliant drive, sixth, Luke Bailey is in seventh, starting in 12th, but fair play, and Energy Down starting in 13th, finishing 8th. Mike finishes in 9th, Nigel Gash is in 10th, Ferocious Dan, Dre Geo, Sir Spud, Sab, and Yoss, they have all had the DNFs. Well, Mike did have the DNF during that race, but I'll just say because they were in the top 10 at the time, the other races were DNF'd confirmed at the time. So they've just done the drivers' penalties at the time there, but like I said, while we're waiting for the screen to come up, we won't be doing any interviews during the pre-season races because there's no point for me, Tim. There's no point doing the interviews until we do the actual round, the proper league rounds. I hope that's okay with you guys.
I agree, because this is, as you said, this is more or less just for the admins and also the drivers to kind of see where they line up. And later on in this season, you might be the one having to do most, if not all, the interviews, just for the simple fact that for some reason I have issues with connection with some of the other drivers. Like I was mentioning earlier, Yoss, I can never ever hear him in a lobby.
Oh, okay, fair dues, mate. But like I said, we'll try and get that sorted. If not, I'll try and do as much of the interviews when we get to that point in 2 weeks' time in round 1.
And of course, I'll be there alongside you. I mean, I definitely want to talk more with the drivers. It's just I just hope that we don't have any connection issues that hinder us.
Yeah, absolutely madness. Yeah, well, it'd be fantastic stuff whatever happens. Sorry, I was just reading the comments from Mike saying I was the only one what the hell? I was the only one disconnected. Don't know what happened there from Mike, so he did get a disconnection. So that would have classed as I don't know whether that classed as a DNF or probably 95% of the race. He still was there, but he would have had some points. Whatever happens there, we've had a disconnection anyway. But what's your thoughts of the race here, mate? What did you think of the race?
There until the very end, it was very close racing for the majority of the race, and really I think the biggest reason that the field got so spaced out was just because of all those DNFs that occurred late in the race. But overall, the race was very entertaining, and even though we had a leader for most of the race being Scopefielder, he was never really out of reach until the very end when he built up that 10-second lead. And at the end of the day, I think that's what you really want, is even if you have a winner lead every single lap, as long as everyone else kind of had a chance, you got to say that it was at least a decent race.
Oh, absolutely. I think, like I said, Scope did a decent race. You had Mr. Scorsese, the driver's champion from last season in the Performance League 1. The Performance League 1. And then you got Archie, who's done a brilliant drive as well. So the top 3 drivers from this race. But like I said, you can't just determine this race as going to be the final decision making, whatever happens in the season coming up, because there's always going to be twists and turns throughout the rest of the season. Mike's just commented saying he had PSN network error, so I hope PSN will be sorted out soon for you, Mike. I really do. I'll hopefully get that sorted for you as well. But I tell you what, I know I kept pestering you, Tim, with the drive of the day. For the final time between us two, who do you think is your final drive of the day properly after what you watched?
properly, I'm definitely still going to have to give it to Scopefielder because he did not start out in the lead. Mike's had a lead there early on, but Scopefielder, once he inherited the lead, he basically just kept it, and he just got out to a big lead there at the end and still won even with that 5-second time penalty. And that's why I say that he ran an almost flawless race. So at the end of the day, you definitely have to give the driver of the day to him just because of the amazing performance he was able to put on.
Okay, I will go with you on that one, Tim. The duo will agree that Scopefielder is our driver of the day, the commentator's driver of the day. Well, obviously, you guys can decide what you want to do, who you think is your driver of the day on that situation there. But, and like I said, with the driving as well, I know this is equal car performance, because as I said every time that this is just help out with the admin stuff, but it's easier to find out what car these guys are going to be picked on, and the admins will have to have a long thinking after the second race based on the performances from the two races. But they have to look at the pace and look at the performance. It's going to be difficult because I've done like the car allocations, and it's one of the toughest jobs ever. And I'll always remember that it's always the toughest job ever. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but you have to pick the right cars for the right drivers for the right tracks, and you got to think, would he go okay in this car? But will the other driver that he's battling against be in the same car, or a quicker car, or a slower car? You have to be choices, and it's going to be very difficult for the admins after the next week's race. Do you agree?
Oh, for sure. I am very glad I'm not an admin that has to make these decisions. I am a commentator for two series this season, so I'm glad that I have an easier job than them having to go through all the members and all the racers and choose, what cars and everything. So hats off to all our admins who make that happen.
Oh, fair dues. But if you do, you'll know what's happened next. I've just got some comments from the Twitch stream. Mike says, my first online race on the 2019 game, almost finished. DSC, disconnected. Sorry, not DSQ, I do apologise, it's DSC on lap 31. Mike says, haha, they've done the allocation for many seasons. He doesn't want to do it again. We'll have to wait and see what happens there, Mike. On that one, SJD's joined, says, hi Mark, I've missed you. Dual set tones. Yeah, it's I always do like some tones during the streams when I always used to do them, like with the Rick Astley songs that SJD's team is doing as well. But like I said, this season is going to be very difficult for the drivers, and I think it's going to be an exciting one. Is there any, through the calendar? The calendar stuff. Do you think is there been any tracks that you think that could be the crucial points during the season, based on what I've said earlier?
Even though Monaco is very early on in the season, I feel like that's definitely going to be a crucial point because, as I said, I believe that we're going to see a lot of DNFs, a lot of wrecks, a lot of collisions, maybe even some hurt feelings. Who knows? Maybe even we're going to go into the chat after that race and see a bunch of people cussing each other out because Monaco is just a really tight track. So I feel that even though it's early in the season, it could very well be a race that's going to make or break the rest of your season, just for the simple fact that either it could be a mental game to where you don't feel there mentally because you don't have the momentum, or simply just because you have a DNF, thus not getting points, and then that coming back to bite you later on in the season. So you can never count Monaco out as being, putting a spanner in things.
Ooh, so Monaco, even though it's race 2, Monaco is the one to watch, I think, in about 3 weeks' time, I believe. 3 weeks' time of the track. So we'll have to find out if it could be make or break. I know it's only early days, early doors. George Doors, early doors on that one. So, but like I said, have you got any final thoughts of the race tonight, or final thoughts of the drivers from tonight that you thought would like to say before we wrap up this fantastic stream tonight?
just want to say hats off to all the drivers. Fantastic drive to every one of you. Even the ones that had DNFs, the ones that made mistakes, just absolutely fantastic drive. 15 cars, almost a full lobby, almost a full field. That is amazing. That's what we want for this year. That's what we want for this season. That is definitely what we can ask for. So thank you guys for coming to racing with us. And, thank you, Craig and Mac, for letting me commentate with you. And thanks again to the drivers for putting on a really good race.
Fair dues, Tim. Fantastic stuff. And fantastic commentator, the legendary commentator. That will be the legendary duo and legendary stuff, whatever happens here. But before I wrap up, here we've got a few more comments here. SJD is not happy with the Monaco. He's saying it could have been done later on in the season to give more time. Mike says he tried no traction control and quali, spun at the end of the lap, so I switched to medium traction and ABS to try to finish the race. And Mike says Monaco will have 3 finishes at Monaco. So, like I said, Monaco is one of those tracks where you have to be on the ball and you can't make any silly mistakes because you would ruin it pretty much there. But with that tonight, because tonight was at Spain, it's been a fantastic race. It's been a joy to come back into the commentary box to watch the Performance League, as always, for many, many years. And like I said, with Craig, did the commentary with me for many, many seasons. And then now Tim's joined me for this season of the England versus USA duo banter galore. We'll have to wait and see what happens next during the season on that one. But like I said, I'd like to thank Tim for his fantastic commentary tonight, and well done to all the drivers tonight. Well done to Scope for finishing the race to win the race tonight. One to watch, I think. It could be, Mr. Scorsese will have his hands full if he can try and stop him from this season. And so, but like I said, I'd like to thank all of you guys. I'd like to thank the commentators, the comments from Mike and SJD. I wish you all the very best of luck, whatever happens this season. And Tim, thank you very much, mate. You've been an absolute legend, mate.
Thank you, Malcolm. Going to throw out a quick apology to the guys watching on the F1 Twitch channel. As I try to address your comments, I see that we have gotten 5, but for some reason I cannot pull it up to view the comments. Trying on my phone here, cannot make it work, so apologize. I'm not trying to ignore you guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, and Malk, again, good commentary tonight, and it has been really fun.
No worries, mate, no worries. And always remember, always remember, stay classy. See you later, guys. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week at the glorious, glorious race of the Mexico. Much appreciated.